Pronunciation Pro.
Pronunciation Pro.
Okay, so we're wanting to get really clear of, is your mental diet helping you reach your goals? Okay, so we're going to go through and get very deliberate about it. Okay, and a lot of times what happens is when we're not conscious about what our mental diet is, we just are kind of at the mercy of whatever comes our way, and we're not deliberate about it. And when we're not deliberate about it, we let outside influences take over our mental capacity and our, that mental space, instead of being proactive and deciding what we want. Okay, and it's in that proactivity, it's the reactive versus proactive, right? When we're reactive, we're just responding to whatever comes our way. When we're proactive, we are deciding, and that brings a ton of confidence and a ton of personal power when we decide what goes into our minds. Okay, so we're gonna do a little clean out, and I like to think of it as like going into a closet and seeing this like really messy closet, and we have to like pull everything out, and we have to look at everything individually and say, is this working for me, or is this not? And if it's working for me, I put it back, and if it's not, then I've got to toss it, okay, or give it away. All right, so we're going to decide what stays and what goes. So I want you to be writing here. And we're going to go through some specific areas to start thinking about. And I want you to really do some kind of self-reflecting, thinking about these different areas and whether it's helping you reach your goal or distracting you from your goals. Okay. All right, so it's tracking. This is mental health or mental diet tracking. So that's a very common practice with food diet, is tracking what you're putting into your body. Okay, and so we're going to do the same process and mentally kind of go through and track what's happening. So the overall question is, are these inputs helping you reach your goal? So I want you to be writing down in each of these areas, and maybe have two sides of the paper. That might actually be a good idea, is like keep, get rid of. Keep or trash, okay? It's just like two areas where this, I thought of something that I do every day or something that happens every day, and this is something to keep or to get rid of. Okay, obviously we're not gonna get rid of our family, but so we're not trashing family or anything here. But but we do have to recognize people in our life. That's a big input that we have in our life, and a mental input. And if we have family or friends or colleagues that are really hurting our confidence in terms of like the input that you're getting from them is really negative, or it makes you kind of doubt yourself or things like that, there may need to be some boundaries around that. There may need to be some conversations of like, hey, this isn't helping me. I'd really appreciate it if you don't, bring that here, or, everyone's situation is going to be different, but just getting mindful of family members and friends and colleagues that you have, people you have in your life, that maybe you might need to kind of like create a little space from, or there's somebody that is really helping you and really adding to that confidence. That's a wonderful thing. But just having conversations with people, if that is something that's distracting you, or just even creating a little bit of distance to help protect yourself a little bit. Okay, so just take a minute and kind of think through those. And I won't ask you any specifics in this situation because it gets personal there, but as we move along, I am going to be asking about. Okay. Okay, so the next area is media. Okay, this is a huge one. Huge one, but I want you to get conscious about the media that you consume every day or consistently. The TV shows that you watch, and I'm not saying that all of it needs to get rid, like if it's not directly building towards your goal, then you need to get rid of it, because there's obviously need for downtime, there's needs to kind of replenish, there's, you know, there's just time to have fun, time to relax, things like that. Doesn't have to be directly tied to your goals. But what I really want you to get conscious of is what is really dragging you down. What is keeping you feeling, you know, what thoughts are kind of then coming in through these different sources that are creating a feeling of like sadness or insecurity or lack of drive or motivation. I know specifically, well, news is obviously a big one that a lot of our students have talked about. Maria says, I think what is dragging me down is spending much time on social media and paying too much attention to politics. Yeah, I think that's a very common thing, especially right now, is that there's a lot of contention, there's a lot of debate going on, and it can get really negative. It can get extremely negative and difficult to manage. And it's okay to just say, you know what, my brain doesn't handle that really well right now. I need to remove myself and not engage in it. And that's just being kind to yourself. It's being kind to your own brain and recognizing what is too much. The way that I like to think about it is that we have to clear, in order to build confident thoughts and confident mindsets, we really have to clear out some space for it, right? We can't just keep jamming new things in when it's a cluttered space. So we really have to clear the space and allow, and I think about it as like demoing a house. You know, my husband's a contractor, so he goes into old houses and they have to knock out everything that's not working, okay? And they have to clear it out. And they have to get all of the old material out of that space. And then there's space and there, you know, it's cleaned up enough that we can go in and build with the new material. And then it's a completely different space, you know? After that's done, it's a completely different space. And we have to really think about that in our minds, is that if we want to build the new stuff, we really do need to clear out some space for it. Okay, so as you're thinking about this mental diet, I want you to really get aware of that. What is it that is in your mental space? And do we need to clear some things out to make space for the new? Okay, so let's kind of talk about then, okay, so phone usage, same idea. There's a lot of media coming from your phone, a lot of games that we're playing, a lot of things that kind of distract us, that could distract us. So I just want you to get conscious of like, is the phone the first thing you pull up in the morning, you know? And to me, that's a very reactive experience. When I wake up and the phone is the first thing that I'm doing and looking at emails or checking texts or whatever it is, I'm letting whatever they have to say be the first thing that influences me. But when I decide and say that I'm going to address that after I've taken care of myself in these ways, then it becomes a lot more easier for me to manage my mind around what comes in through my phone. Okay, so let's kind of move on. So on your piece of paper, I want you to think about then mentors or teachers that you have. So we have friendships. Like I really think, I like to think of there's people that I have in my life that I consider friends that I've never actually met before. And these are people that I either listen to their podcasts or I really love their books or things like that. There's physical teachers that I have, and then there's people that I follow and that influence the way that I think, because I connect with the way that they're thinking. So, you know, we have to really be mindful of like, who is influencing our thoughts, and are we being deliberate about that? Do we really want to be thinking the way that these people around us are thinking? And if so, that's a great space to kind of feed that. But sometimes it's not, and that becomes that whole what you were talking about, unsubscribing. We unsubscribe, we stop listening to certain people that you feel like, that's not the message. Those aren't the messages that are getting me to where I want to go. Okay, so think about those mentors or teachers. Okay, books, articles, magazines, again, kind of the printed version. Like, what do we keep? What do we not? Kind of get mindful of that. And then the last one is quiet time. Are you allowing space for no input? Are we giving our brains a break at some point in our day? Is there a space where there's not input coming in? Okay, I think that is a very, very healthy for our mental diet. Just like with like food consumption, if we're constantly eating throughout the day versus we eat a meal and then we stop and we allow our bodies that time and space to digest what we've already ingested, that we've deliberately ingested, give our bodies a space to be able to regulate that and to digest that and things like that before we give our bodies more food. Same thing with our mental diet, is if it's all day long, we're just input, and things are happening all day long, we don't give our brains time to process, time to think, time to really reason and put things into its proper space and perspective. That is a very, very important piece to our mental diet. Having nothing. Okay. So I want you to think about that. Am I carving out space every day where there's nothing? So having a very clear why or a purpose is really going to help you push through some of these obstacles that are in your way. So really hold on to that and get very clear about your why so that can really guide you and give you that strength and motivation. Okay. The other piece is, I love that you're finding strategies and I can tell you're already kind of working on it, of just like, okay, people aren't understanding me well. Okay. I just need to, work on my pronunciation. I need to practice. And that's the work that you're doing. So you're building skill and confidence in this specific area of pronunciation, which is wonderful. That's, building confidence in a skill set does come with practice and repetition. So you're doing that work. Now, with the mindset of people judging me or things like that, those are the other skills, the confidence skills, the mindset skills that we have to start really working with.
Your voice is important and needs to be heard. If you're ready to speak English clearly and with greater confidence, I invite you to start your free 7-day trial at pronunciationpro.com.